As I'm growing older, hi, I'm Natasha. My channel is about empowering women, debunking the beliefs that we have borrowed from society. Yes, so as I'm growing older, I've realized that life is about seeking the authority of God in each sphere of your life, aligning your will with His will. And seeking His kingdom. We are now in the information age. At the end, thank God, of the industrial age. And the more I realize that the age just keeps on changing, the way we earn an income, make a living keeps on changing. The way in which we define our identity keeps on changing. Have you guys noticed? And then the way in which our value is defined in society keeps on changing. I mean, what? And literally, it's becoming more apparent to me that you prioritize the kingdom and Christ and God and allow Him to just add everything else, man. I would say set up your life so that it's 80% revolving around God and 20% earning an income just to make a living. If your identity is built on Christ, and who you are in Christ, nothing else matters. I've listened to a video of someone that's famous, and he said that when you get to the other side of wealth, the other side of riches and success, you realize that that's not it. And wow, man. When you've reached the pinnacle of what true wealth looks like, and you can buy whatever you want, live wherever you want, travel to wherever you want, that is not it. And this person also said that he wishes everyone gets enough money to be able to realize that. But I'm realizing it, and I'm on the other side. I'm realizing it now. And I feel so grateful. I feel fortunate. Because I've stopped putting in the work to attain something that's not going to give me, that's not going to fill the void. I've stopped putting in the work to attain success, to attain material wealth. I've stopped making that my identity, and I've rooted my identity in Christ. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And it's not just me, it's a lot of people who follow Christ have taken it on. And when you're in Christ, you feel elevated, eh? You feel safe. Do you know that ever since I've given my heart to God and I've followed Christ and I've committed to Him, I have never felt unprotected. Doesn't matter where I am. Doesn't matter where I drive, where I find myself. I always feel that there's a hedge around me. I feel protected. And I don't feel alone. And I've never really sat down to think, why do I get so much joy from just being alone I feel it's a divine protection. It's a divine protection that's around me. And yeah, man. And I'm just basically now referring to physicality, physical spaces. I'm not saying that I'm protected against spiritual attacks to that extent, even though I am, but I wish I could be more protected. But for that, I know I need to keep the armor of God. I need to strengthen myself and reassure myself with the armor of God. I need to have it. I need to be aware of it more. But I feel a deep sense of being protected all the time, hey? I feel a deep sense of being protected all the time. And people never understand. People could never understand why I do certain things that other people would not. It's because I don't have that. I'm not scared. Do you understand? I used to be scared when I was a child and when I was a teenager and in my 20s. Maybe God has really and truly delivered me. I wasn't born like this. I was born in sin. I was born with fear. I was born with sin. In sin, I was born in fear. I had fear in my life. And I've allowed God to come into my heart, and He's taken that away. He has taken that away. He has taken the shame away. He has taken the fear away. He protects me. He gives me wisdom. He guides me. He gives me insight. That's divine, man. And you know what? Once you're rooted in Christ, once your identity is rooted in Christ, you're part of the winning team. You're part of the winning team. I've traveled internationally to other countries, and there's a huge talk around, South Africa, my country, being unsafe, and how people literally uproot their entire lives because of safety being an issue. They don't feel safe in South Africa. They would rather live in a country that's not their own for the sake of safety. And my motivation for visiting other countries was never safety, because I can to this day still not relate to safety being the determining factor for uprooting your entire life and going to live somewhere else. I feel like when it comes to safety, obviously you won't be putting yourself in dangerous situations, or you won't be moving around where you should not be moving around. I mean, that's certainly not how I live my life. I don't frequent places that I should not frequent. I've lived in Joburg for 5 years. I've never seen the inside of a nightclub, I've lived in Joburg for 5 years. I have never really driven in other parts of Joburg except Joburg North, so, and I'm not saying other parts of Joburg is unsafe. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you should know how to steward your own safety. So for me, it's hard to relate to someone who's saying that they will leave the country because it's unsafe. When you see a specific area is unsafe, obviously it's time for you to move to a different area. It doesn't matter the cost. You have to sacrifice a little bit. Yes, there's violence in South Africa. Yes, there's crime in South Africa. But there's also very safe spaces. And there's people who believe in Christ who feel overly protected. And that's what I'm talking about. I cannot relate to that, moving to a different country because other countries are more safer, you can walk at night, blah, 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 all of that. No, I'm not talking about, I'm just saying that there's a sense of safety that I feel that would not allow me to say that I feel unsafe in this country, I want to pack up. Do you understand? I feel unsafe in England, I want to pack up and go live in the Middle East. I feel unsafe in the UK. in London, so I want to pack up and go and live in Dubai, where it's safer. I would say that when you trade your you're going to most likely trade your physical safety for another type of safety hazard. And when it comes to safety, what's more important for me is your soul safe in that particular domain? Is your freedom safe in that domain? Is your faith safe in that domain? Are your faith practices safe? Is your self-esteem safe? Is your drive and motivation safe? And the list goes on. Yes, the Middle East, and I have nothing against the Middle East, I'm just saying, some countries have lower crime rates than others. But at what cost? Okay, losing yourself somewhere means your sense of self was not safe there. When you live in Christ, you are sorted. You are sorted. Will the enemy try to attack you? Of course. But Christ is above that. When you give your life to Christ, from that day onwards until you die or until you leave this earth, you are already on the winning side. There's no battle really for you to enter into, because there's no cup. You've already won the biggest cup that was ever out there. Okay? And there will be opposing factors coming in to try to want to match you or try to want to verse you. And sometimes you entertain them, sometimes you don't entertain them. You don't have to participate at all for the rest of your life in battles with that opposing forces, because you have already triumphed. Okay, your team is already on the winning side for life. Do you understand how this thing is set up? Okay. When you go through hardships, when you go through different seasons in your life, when you go through rainy days, stormy days, during those seasons you must not give up, you must not give in, and most importantly, number one, you are going to be tested in terms of provision. Okay, so whether you have a lot, whether you don't have a lot, you are going to be tested in the area of provision, in the area of material acquisition. Okay, that's test number one. So how the test will come is, you will be requested by the opposing party. You will be requested by the opposing party to take the provision of material things upon yourself, because you are essentially responsible for that, for which you are actually not, because the maker, your creator, has already paid the price, so you don't need to worry about provision for yourself. Okay, but you will be tested in that area to start worrying about provision, whether you have a lot or whether you don't have anything. The second area that you will be tested in is your identity. Okay, so you will be tested to prove yourself during those difficult times, to prove your worth, and to prove that you are indeed who you think you are. Okay, so you must identify that those moments during your adversity, even during good times, you must identify that attack on your life, and you need to stand firm in your identity in Christ. Okay, so you are going to be tempted to take on an identity just like Adam, just like Jesus. Think of those. The devil is going to come and say, if you are the person that you say you are, then do this and do that and do that to show me. You don't show anyone anything. You stand firm within your identity in Christ. Okay? Right. Then lastly, you will be proven in terms of your power. If you really have power, show me this and show me that. You don't do that. You don't prove anything. Okay? So stand firm in your identity in Christ and be aware of those attacks that will come into your life. You are on the winning side. You're not on the losing side. During stormy times, during windy times, during rainy times, those attacks will come. You need to pass them. Once you pass them, you will be stronger. That is how life is set up. You will go through it and you will come out better and greater and bigger because you are the child of God. And I have another video about proving yourself. You never do that. And I'm not talking about going into a job and having to prove that you could do a skill. That's something different. Okay? We must respect these earthly things, earthly authorities and stuff like that. We have to respect it because Jesus showed us that we have to respect. I'm saying about proving your worth and who you are, your identity. You don't do that ever. You don't ever do that. Thanks, guys. If you listened up till now, I love you so much. I'll see you in the next